to you and your family and your loved ones.
Awesome, awesome. Hey, we appreciate you. We've got to get that policing act passed. That means a lot. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. So black, brown, blue, green, yellow, purple, white, don't have to worry about being put in a bad situation where nobody has no responsibility. Because if people have to have responsibility and think about it twice, there'll be a different outcome. And that is so awesome.
Absolutely. We have to have accountability, no doubt.
And there's none right now. There's none. I got to ask you this crazy question. What do you think about what happened 2 weeks ago, Wednesday?
Well, I mean, I think that our country is at the precipice of something that is very dangerous and unnerving. The notion that something like the seat of our government could so easily have been violated in the way that those mob and rioters were able to is just unfathomable. So first, it speaks deeply to absolutely, it speaks to a massive security failure. And then it speaks to, as the impeachment vote that took place very recently indicates, how our president, the president of the United States, could lead something like that. So I think it leads to a tremendous amount of uncertainty in our society that we are all grappling with. And I think it leaves us with a question of, are we at the end of something, and are we going to be able to stitch up our country and move past this? Or are we at the beginning of something and continuing to see a downward spiral? And that's not something that anyone can clearly answer right now. So we're definitely, I know that the Congress member is deeply concerned. As I'm sure you saw, she voted in support of impeachment. She believes we need to hold the president accountable to a T. And she was very alarmed and very, very angry by what had taken place, because it is the seat of our government. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. How are you grappling with everything that's happened recently?
Sweetie, as a black man, as a man of color, that's probably one of the worst things I've ever seen happen, because you put it in your mind. If that was us, our families would be singing that old Negro spiritual, Amazing Grace, because we all would have been dead. They would have literally they wouldn't even come out with rubber bullets. They would have used the real bullets, from the get-go. So, it's hard to fathom that this happens in the world that we live in today. But guess what? That's the same kind of hatred and power and control that they showed by taking my nephew's life. Same type of individual. So we have got to fix that.
Well, I hear you loud and clear, sir. I hear you. And the Congress member hears you as well. And we are, again, deeply concerned by these events that are unfolding.
Have to be. We live in this place all together, and when you see total dominance by a particular race, that it's got to change, because they've been dominating for 401 years, and that was a horrible look for Black people and people of color, indigenous people. That was really bad, real bad look. Because the first thing you say, wow, if that was us. And that's absolutely insane to be able to form your mouth to say, suppose that was me. In a free world, so.
Yeah. I think in reading a lot of the news and analysis on this, we definitely can. I will say that the only part of it that's heartening is that a lot of people are bringing this in the mainstream discussion, and seeing President-elect Biden talk about in his speech how his own granddaughter had sent him pictures of protesters being treated one way in the summer of last year versus how the rioters were treated. So I would say the only silver lining is that at least it is something that people are having a discussion about, and maybe that can lead to some pathway towards change.
There's two types of people. There's the person that can't read, that don't understand, and then there's the person that don't want to read. Well, in essence, you can see it, but they don't want to see what's going on. And if you can't see it now, you are blind. You're not blind in eyes, you're blind in soul and heart. Because there's a lot of blind people in this world.
Well, Councilwoman, I am Melvin Lars. I am manager for the Selwyn. This is his first cousin, George's first cousin at the bottom, Paris. And of course, she can
Hi,
speak.
how are you?
And his aunt, Angela Harrelson, was with us momentarily, and I'm sure she'll be back. And as we were saying to Hala, who's been so sweet and so kind, is that it's just an honor that you would take the time and take a few minutes to visit with us. Uncle Selwyn and I were talking about it, and he was adamant about meeting you. So we wanted to make sure that we contact your office, and your people were so generous and so gracious to afford us this opportunity. And so that's why I'm saying, with all due respect, is that the family members will speak for themselves. However, I just wanted to give a brief introduction of what was taking place. And you heard Sinconi ask me if we were asking Sinconi. We know you only have a few minutes, but that painting he was explaining, it's called Standing on Shoulders. And if you don't mind, while we're waiting on Angela to return, hopefully she'll be back in a minute or two. I think Sinconi can share with you pretty quickly about the painting and why George is in this painting. Okay, Brother Sinconi.
Sure. I'd love to hear.
Okay, Brother Sinconi, please continue.
Congress Lady Bass, it's indeed an honor to be on here with you. You're one of my favorite people.
Oh, thank you.
The name Bass is in my immediate family.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I'll try to tell you about this painting very swiftly. This painting begins with the march of humanity coming out of Africa across the top here to the pyramids, and the African saga of slavery in the Americas comes down and climbs back up to persons like Sojourner Truth, Frederick Douglass, Harold Tubman, and Booker T. Washington, over to Woodson, and cross to President Obama, and over to Floyd here, and comes down to Dr. King in the front. And they are all standing on the shoulders of those persons that are unknowns to us, like my parents, grandparents, and many of yours, who were the cotton pickers, the cane cutters, the maids, and all of those. And but for them, we wouldn't be. And so they are standing on those shoulders. And the idea here is to express the continuation of our march. And the gourds within this are symbols of wisdom. And each of them is passing a gourd to the person in front of them, like the baton passed off to the other person, the cycle. And that's why I'm so happy to be on here with you, to see that baton moving forward. When another artist friend called me and suggested that Floyd be part of this painting, I saw that immediately. And when I brought it to some other person's attention, their question was, why, what has he done? Why should he be in there? And of course, we all know the immediate answer to that. All of these ran, but nobody has finished this run, nor has there been any one of these that have brought about the tremendous uniting of people across the world, like that murderous event of Brother Floyd here. So because of that, we added him to this painting, and there's a great deal more to this, but we really want to hear from you.
Oh, well, first of all, it's absolutely beautiful. Is Martin holding a lantern? Is that a lantern that I'm looking at?
You mean who's holding the lantern?
Martin King, Dr. King.
Yes. He's holding what was called in my house growing up in the cotton field, a kerosene lamp. He's the only one that has the light, and
Mhm.
we know the impact of the light that Martin Luther King brought us.
So where is this painting? Where
Where is,
are you?
this painting is right here in my studio right now.
Are you in Los Angeles? What city are you in?
I'm in West Monroe, Louisiana.
Oh, it's really beautiful. It's very beautiful. The texture too that I can see, can see from the picture. I see the gorge. That's very nice. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sanconi. Councilwoman Bass, as we prepare for Melvin Lars to shut up and you talk with the Floyd family, please let me share quickly. I don't know if you've seen The Art of Love with Dick Van Dyke, which is a movie classic, but all of the paintings and drawings in that movie is done by Don Sanconi.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, that's when I was living in Los Angeles in Santa Monica.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
And last thing I'm gonna share with you a little before it's LA. I used to my mentor is Dr. George McKenna from Washington Preparatory High School. That's my mentor.
Yeah, okay. Did you go to Washington?
No, I worked there. I worked there with Dr. McKenna. I thought I could be a professional football player, and the Raiders thought differently, so I had to get a regular job.
Well, that's nice, and Dr. McKenna's a dear friend, so that's
really
great to know.
Ask him about Melvin Lars. That is my guy.
I will. I definitely will.
Okay, family, I'm shutting up. I see Angela has joined us, Councilwoman, and Paris has been here a while, and Selwyn has been here a while. So I'm shutting up and let you guys do what you need to do.
Okay.
Let's let my sister speak first.
Hi, I'm Angela Harrelson. I'm George Floyd's aunt. It's very nice to meet you, Miss Karen.
Thank you.
And I heard about the work, and my brother Selwyn told me about the George Floyd Justice and Police Acts, and I was very honored to hear that was something that you would also wanted to stand behind on. And he told me about that. I said, wow, I gotta get on this, see what's going on, And so I'm glad to be here, and it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Likewise, likewise.
Paris.
Hi.
Paris. Okay.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. It's so nice to meet you. Like I said, I'm Paris. I'm George Floyd's first cousin. My mother and his mother were sisters. So this policing act is so important to our family. It's going to be, to the whole United States. And I'm so honored that you are putting this in place and trying to get this act passed. And I'm praying that we can get this passed through the Senate so we can move forward.
Well, I mean, the world changed last Tuesday when we won the Senate.
Yes.
Oh, that's
very unnerving.
I forgot about that.
Well, you forgot about it because today all the crazy attended on the Capitol. And they, and we didn't even get to celebrate that before madness broke out. That's
exactly. Everything was normal.
Exactly right.
So I'm glad that hopefully it will be passed now, since the Democrats are holding the Senate. So we thank you so much. Whatever we can do to get this passed, whatever barriers, if you can tell us what we can do from our level to get this passed, that would be wonderful.
Absolutely.
First of all, Ms. Bass, this is Selwyn. This is the big mouth of the crew. You will not, Don Sanconi, you will not give her your address because we already know the deal is on that painting. Second of all, Ms. Bass, it is look at that beautiful painting. But second of all, Ms. Bass, it is absolutely an honor to meet such a powerful, strong individual that has been battling for our race for many, many, many years. And you look like you're like 35. So whatever you're doing is a good thing. So, you know, what do you think the impact would be when this bill gets passed?
Well, actually, let me start a little before that. I think first of all, the bill is really important, and it is the first time in Congress that we passed a bill. Now, you know, we're in a new Congress now. Every 2 years, it's a brand new Congress, so we have to introduce the bill all over again. But when we passed it the last time, you know, that was the first time that Congress had done such transformative legislation. That was the first time. And, you know, we got all of the Democrats and we got 3 Republicans, but I will tell you that that's not a small matter because, you know, I mean, the Black Democrats, the Latino Democrats, well, sure, you're going to get them. But that we got the white Democrats, we got the other Democrats to vote for this. That was, you know, a really big deal. And, you know, your family member, and it's so sad that he changed the world by losing his life, you know, it is. And because of his daughter's requests, that's why the bill was named that. The bill was called the Justice and Policing Act. But when Mr. Floyd's daughter made the request of the speaker, she granted it, and we changed the name, you know, of the bill. So it will be transformative, and I'll tell you why. You know, when we see the police killing us all the time, you kind of just feel hopeless in the sense that, you know, well, this will never change because this is the way police are. What we don't realize is that there's specific laws that are put in place that allow police to kill like that and never be charged. Mm-hmm. And so we're trying to change those laws. Like, for example, you know, a police officer basically has immunity and you can't sue him. So there's no personal liability. And then you can't prosecute them because the bar to prosecute a police officer is so high, you have to prove what was in their mind. So we lowered the bar to say, I don't care what's in their mind. If they were reckless, that man who put his knee on your family member's neck was reckless. Just like if he had been driving a car at 120 miles. I don't care what the person's thinking. The point is, it's reckless. So when the bill is signed by President Biden, then it'll be easier to prosecute officers. And I happen to believe that if you can sue them and prosecute them, maybe they'll think twice before they choke you out or shoot you. The other thing is that you remember Tamir Rice. He was only 12 years old.
Oh,
when he was killed, because, you know, Black people, it doesn't matter even if you're 5 years old, Black people are scary. Now, you know, 1,000 white people storming the Capitol, well, they're not scary. But anyway, so Tamir, the police officer that killed Tamir, had worked for an adjacent police department. He had been fired because they said he had a propensity to violence and he was unstable. So they fired him. So he just walks down the street, gets hired, and then kills somebody. And when he stopped, he killed Tamir in less than a minute. And so our bill calls for a registry, a database of officers that racially profile are brutal. Our bill calls for standards. You know, we all go and get our hair done, and the beautician has to have a license and training. A police officer has training, but the standards are different. We have 18,000 police departments, so we have 18,000 standards. So we want to have uniform standards, uniform accreditation. And so those are some of the things that are in the bill. There's a lot of other things in the bill too, but I think some of those are some of the most important features of the bill. So what we have to deal with right now is all these people dying from COVID. So I think it'll be a bit before we get back to policing, but I think it'll be within his first 100 days. And we will absolutely let you know way ahead of time. We'll make sure that you know, because you all could play an extremely important role by lifting up George, his life, talking about him. You know, those things are really important, getting his name back out there, associating it with him. Because I have to tell you, you know, I had said this before, I was at the memorial service in Houston. And, you know, and I looked up and I saw that Mr. Floyd was born in 1973. That's how long I've been working on this issue.
Mm.
I mean, that's 47 years.
Wow.
And in Los Angeles, we had a real crazy police chief. When they would choke you out and you would die, you know, they were killing Black people with chokeholds. And he had a press conference and he tried to convince the public that the reason why so many Black people were dying is because the veins in our neck don't open the same way normal people do. That's what we were dealing with.
Oh my goodness.
It's like the extra bone in the leg.
Say that again? Yeah, and an extra bone in the leg, right?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And
Wow.
so, you know, but what happened to Mr. Floyd was so horrific. Everybody watched it. I can't watch it. I mean, anyway, to see somebody tortured before your very eyes and killed. So no one raised, because we've been watching Black people killed on video now for a while, you know? I mean, when Rodney King got beat, I mean, this is mean to say, but we were kind of happy in LA that at least it was on video, so people couldn't say it didn't happen. So, but the thing about it is that prior to Mr. Floyd, people would say things like, well, we don't really know what happened before the video started. And we don't really know who this person was. I don't care who the person was. You know, what about Dustin Roof or whatever that guy's name that killed all of the people
in the church?
Yeah, Dylan Roof.
Yeah.
I mean, he killed 9 people. They took him to lunch. Remember that? They took him to Burger King, got him a hamburger.
Yeah.
And gave him a glass of water.
Right. And so, but with Mr. Floyd, that being so egregious, people really couldn't say anything. You didn't need to ask what happened before the tape. You saw what happened over 9 minutes. Right. And so because of that, it really changed everything. It was like, you know, I mean, I come from earthquake country, so, you know, I would measure it on the Richter scale in terms of it being a very, very, very strong earthquake to people's consciousness. And it was the first time in my life, having worked on these issues for so long, that I heard people make a connection between what happened to an individual with a rotten system, with systemic racism. Never heard people utter that phrase before.
Oh, they would never have. Oh my God, you are so right, because even for especially white people to even say the word systemic racism was back then the taboo. And
right.
See this many people out protesting and seeing a lot of white people out there protesting. It was, you never would have seen that in the 60s.
No, never. So I think that, you know, again, I'm so sorry that it resulted in the loss of his life, but we're not going to let his life be lost in vain.
That's right.
Ms. Bass, you will see me because I'm hollering every day, Justice and Policing Act. Me and Mr. Melvin have figured us out a plan where his pretty face is going to be seen everywhere, because we have to have that done. Now, I do have to. We got to get it changed, my dear. And I am just, my breath is taken away to see such an illustrious, beautiful young lady that's been fighting for Black people for all these years, and we finally have an opportunity to win that battle now. We finally have an opportunity.
Yeah, we
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're very welcome. It's an honor.
It's an honor to meet you. It's an honor.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I'm honored that you guys wanted to have a conversation. So very much so. But we definitely should stay in touch, because this is going to happen. It is. And I think it's going to be important because, you know, people's memories are so short. And now we're all kind of confused over what has been happening here with this crazy man. And it's like, it kind of bothers me though, you know, Twitter shut down, but you know, and Thursday I could care less, but as long as he's in that White House, I want to know what he's doing. So they took him off Twitter. We don't know what he's doing in that White House.
At least in Twitter,
Yeah,
you know something. And like, gosh, it's like, what is Trump up to? You know?
Exactly.
I know.
Miss Bass, do you remember?
That's going on in his life.
Miss Bass, do you remember Jim Jones?
Of course I do.
Doesn't it seem like that feel? Don't that feel like that feel?
Absolutely. I've been talking about Jim Jones for the last week. Absolutely.
I have. That's the first thing I thought.
Yep.
That's the first thing I thought about it. How in the world can one man, your ass lost the election, and you don't want to leave? And you don't want to leave, so you get some of your brainwashed people to try to settle the score. That's crazy. That is absolute crazy.
That's where that expression "drink the Kool-Aid" came from.
Yeah, drink up, my darlings. Drink up, my darlings. Drink up.
Right.
But the real problem is that it makes the United States look so weak right now.
Look,
Sweetie, they ain't gave a daggone about us forever. So why wouldn't they be weak? They are weak when it comes down to black people in our lives and situations. Because that was a total slap in the face saying, excuse me, Ms. F, we don't care about y'all niggas. Here we go. You put white people walking through the damn Capitol building just like they were at a picnic. Just like nobody cares. Yeah. Think about it. Taking the picture with the security guard. Then you got the one black dude running for his life that saved the world. And you had Ms. Bass. They literally,
no tear gas or anything.
No tear gas. They wrote Nancy Pelosi a message, and he was giving interviews in Eugene, Oregon the next day, and he didn't get shot. He didn't get choked out or nothing. How, you know?
That was white privilege at its best. That was white privilege at its best.
You know, to make it worse, people don't realize that the Capitol has been closed since March. The Capitol is a ghost town, right, Hala? We don't even have a cafeteria. I mean, we have 1 in 3 buildings. No one's there. 90% of the staff is not there. So the idea that these people thought they could just walk in, you know, the guy that stole Nancy Pelosi's podium?
Yeah.
They arrested him. They arrested him. That sucker's out on $25,000 bail.
Yeah. Oh God, Ms. Bass. Think about this now. Think about this. You commit armed robbery in front of 300 million people, and this dude kills my nephew in front of 6 billion people, and his ass is out at the beach in Miami. He's in Florida at the beach. How does that work in this world?
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. The officer is out?
Yeah. Choker's been out for a month and a half. He's in Florida.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, God, it took them 8 days to even make an arrest.
I know.
Yeah.
Well,
so
the only reason they made an arrest is
because of hell.
Because we burnt the police station down.
People were sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Right.
And they knew they had to do something. Something had to be done to make a decision. They're either gonna tear the town down, or you're gonna arrest this white man that just murdered this black man in the middle of the street.
That's right.
So, you know, yeah. And, you know, my honest opinion is because I've been black for 54 years. My sister's been black for 39 years. My niece has been black for 25 years.
Thank you very much.
What we know, what I know is the system has always been wrong, has been flawed. So we don't want normal, because normal is a white man murders a black guy, gets out. Normally, when you get out of jail on any kind of severe crime, they put an ankle monitor on you. You can't even leave your house.
Right.
You're quarantined no further than the mailbox. And for you to be able to say, I'm afraid for my life, so I have to leave the state, Miss C.
But Selwyn, it started before that, because when he was in a jail, or where he was, the black officers were not allowed to watch him, the guards. Only he could be watched by a white guard, because they were afraid that the black guards would hurt him.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Sometimes it just leaves you without words, you know.
Yeah.
It just does.
Miss Congressman, I think I would like to be your chauffeur for, about 3 or 4 months. So, I get a chance to say, hey, man, I'm with Congressman Bass, and whoop some people up or something. Maybe, I don't know. But we got to get this done, my dear. We have to. I am going to put all of my resources and all of my efforts and all of my talents to work, because we've got to have that passed. Because as Black Americans, if we don't, it seems like they've sped up on killing Black people, it seems like. It literally seems like they've sped up, because since George has been murdered, there's been 6 or 7 people that got killed.
Yes, exactly. And and also Trump was trying to execute as many people as he could before he left.
Oh my God.
Was
yes.
Which was
Miss Bass, you don't even commit crime. You don't even crime is committed at. And you spend 27 years in jail, and there's no DNA test or nothing that you did anything but sit in a car. And they murdered you. And they murder you for driving a getaway car. But yet, this dude can have 20,000 people going to one of the 10 most secured buildings in the world, and nothing happens. And then these people get online. I had somebody tell me the other day, you're lucky that nobody's came and seen your Black ass.
Uncle Selwyn, may I interrupt, sir? I know you all excited, and this is a great opportunity, but we do want to be respectful of the councilwoman's time. And I don't want to be rude, but we do want to be respectful. And she was kind enough to come on with us. I know your blood is boiling. I can tell by your mannerisms. Yeah, I know. And that's why I'm saying I don't want to disrespect anyone. I know that it's difficult to end this conversation, believe me, because I'm enjoying listening to it. However, we gave our word that we would be respectful of the Congresswoman's time. And I do want to say, out of all due respect for Brother Selwyn and the family, is that we too offer our condolences, and we're going to do everything that we can to do what we can to support. And one last thing I'd like to say, Brother Selwyn, as far as the painting, Dunstan Coney is still here. So Congresswoman, you can get one of those paintings. Dunstan Coney would be more than happy to work with you on that painting. And the reason it's so significant, as he's already said, is because a lot of people did not understand the importance that George Floyd has brought to the world. So we thank you for that. And the book, Just an Ordinary George, 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Your denial is your conscience. We will get a copy of that to you. I'm sure Ms. Holla will get us information so we can get that to you. And we certainly want to stay in touch.
Sure.
And the family definitely want to stay in touch, and we want to do that. So again, we just want to thank you very much for coming on and sharing with us and being so kind and so vigilant. And again, we give Holla thanks. She was very wonderful and very kind and very inviting. So we do appreciate that. And we appreciate the individuals that work in your office that helped us set this up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No,
Until we meet
absolutely.
again.
We will be in touch, and we will let you know well before the bill. I don't want you to hear about it in the news. I want you to hear about it from me. So we'll let you know what's happening with the bill, okay? Well before it comes public.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Ms. Bass.
You take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Holla. Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, because it's a shame that we have to even be talking about this, but since we do have to talk about it, at least somebody that can make a difference, in legislation is pushing it. So thank you, ladies, for taking the time to come and be with us and make this possible.
Thank you.
Welcome. Dunstan Coney,
Yes.
have a great night, my brother.
Same to you, and appreciate the opportunity